Overview. Have you ever glanced at the signs and missed them, retained a light-hearted remark for too long? You dismissed her or even abruptly. Did you show interest in something you like? Believe it was merely a coincidence? Let me to tell you something that the majority of men do not acknowledge, that women are skilled at displaying interest without expressing it directly. They are subtly planned, and let's be honest, far ahead in regard to acting as a means of communication instead of than words. But the worst part is, why do males completely miss these signs? Due to the fact that society has taught us to believe that women will explain it to us. To be clear, women are not going to preparing to scream while standing on a rooftop. Rather than ignoring me, they leave breadcrumbs. I hope you're astute enough to adhere to the, "Hey, I would like to know how many have you lost out on opportunities because how many times did you not pay attention? Have you ever left a discussion midway, believing that she is merely being amiable to subsequently discover she was essentially pleading for your attention? It's not simply about attraction. Recognizing the communication styles of women. These indications of their emotions aren't arbitrary deeds of friendship or goodwill, that they're intentional, well-thought-out actions intended to test Frank and your awareness. Here's your emotional intelligence. Unpleasant reality. If you don't notice these indicators, someone else will. Women are not passive recipients of males who cannot recognize their cues. If you wish to get and hold her interest, you must learn to look past what's evident. Therefore, in this video, I'll teach you the 5 telltale indicators that a woman wishes to attract your attention by. In the end, you won't simply comprehend what these indicators will let you know exactly what moment you see them, you'll miss them again. Not after today. Let's get started. What her words cannot convey is conveyed by her body language. Her body language begs to be believed. Will not, in terms of attraction, a body language may convey a lot about a lady, frequently louder than anything she could say, imply that you've most likely heard the proverb, "Words are not as powerful as actions," and this is never more accurate than when a lady is attempting to attract your attention. Women tend to use delicate, almost invisible movements to express interest in the issue that most men ignore these indicators, since they're also concentrated on the words being spoken rather than the being carried out, such as a woman who wants you to take note of her potential, unconsciously change her stance while, when you're nearby, she might take a seat, straighter, slightly arching her back, or, when speaking, she will lean her body in your direction. These indicate that she's attempting to seem more assured, attractive, and pay close attention to what you're doing. Observing her eyes and maintaining eye contact is one of the strongest instruments a woman may utilize if she locks eyes, to show interest a moment longer than required with you, then, with a faint smile, looks away. That indicates that some women may take a step farther, further providing you with what's referred to as the triangular gaze, which entails examining your lips, followed by your eyes, and then back up to. In your perspective, it's a playful and intentional action, but sufficiently subtle that it won't feel overt. Let's discuss touch if she feels at ease revealing personal information. Space barrier, which is a powerful sign. This is her attempt to leave an impression, perhaps a little pat on your arm when speaking, touching your hand with hers when, are you both aiming for something? Even looking for excuses to unintentionally bump into you. These insignificant gestures aren't unintentionally, they're purposefully. Picture this situation where you're going out with some friends, and you observe how one woman is constantly changing her hair, shifting, or smoothing her dress nearer to your current position as she leans in to speak, being careful to keep looking at them while giggling at including the ones that aren't in your humor, so amusing. At one point, her hand rests on your shoulder as she She's highlighting a point with this is more than just amiable behavior. It's her a subtle way of saying, notice me, the key. This is to remain aware that women won't always express their interest directly. However, their nonverbal cues will frequently expose their genuine emotions by asking, are you giving enough thought to recognize that she is mirroring you? Without even realizing it, she mimics you. Not even being aware of it, when a lady has a latent interest in you, frequently detects your motions, and she will imitate your acts, motions, as well as your voice tone. It's an indication of a cozy relationship and attraction, but the truth is that it's not. She's doing something on purpose, and it's a spontaneous reaction demonstrating her feelings in agreement with you and wishes to strengthen the bond. How does this mirroring appear? Such as if you were seated across from you, cross your arms without responding to her. She might cross even if she considers it, hers as well, or if you bend forward while speaking. You may see her performing the likewise. This is her way, and not a coincidence, of coordinating your efforts and demonstrating that she is in tune with you and engaged, but it extends beyond gestures and compensation. Pay attention to the way she speaks. If you begin talking a bit more slowly or more on purpose, she might keep up with you. If you play around with her and she begins to chuckle in a tone or rhythm that's similar to mirroring, is a subtly effective method of expressing that I like you and am attempting to fit your vibe. Here's an example where you're conversing informally at a bar. Additionally, you observe that each time you take, she does the same if you take a sip of your beverage. You change your posture, and she does the same. Additionally, you can lean in a bit more during a fascinating segment of the discussion, and she leans in at the same moment. Despite being largely unconscious, it's an unconscious cue that she is aware of. Your reflecting both emotionally and physically is a crucial indicator of a woman's interest in you and wishes to establish a relationship. The more she behaves like you, the she's more likely to be drawn to you because her method of expressing that I feel at ease with you. And more profoundly, I want you to observe how my mirroring indicates that she's focusing on you and your feelings sufficiently at ease to establish a connection in this subtle yet effective method. If you begin observing her behavior near you, it's time to listen more carefully. You're attracting a lot of attention. 3 playful, joking taunts or insults. It's not just a joke. Taunting or insulting someone is not a joke. A lady will do anything to get your attention, may not always provide you with praise or admiration, rather than may adopt a different, less evident approach that is mocking or taunting. This may seem counterintuitive to you at first, but it's a strategy based on arousing interest and generating connection. Consider it teasing. Someone needs a certain amount of comfort, and being familiar isn't something you do. When a woman teases you with just anybody, she's experimenting by measuring your response and, most all, establishing a dynamism that maintains you participated in the light-hearted back and forth, enables her to distinguish herself in a way that's unforgettable. So let's dissect these joking remarks. Could be interpreted as slights directed towards something you did or said. Perhaps she makes light of your decision to choose, or remarks concerning your constant appearance to place an identical order at a restaurant. At first glance, she can appear to be teasing, but in practice it's a means to capture your interest. The teasing is frequently combined with a tone, a smile, or laughing voice that conveys that she's not being sincere. This combination maintains the interaction that is enjoyable and light-hearted, which generates an environment of she uses flirtation as a means of expressing, implies she is self-assured, intelligent, and competent of continuing this behavior with you, further modifies the dynamic a little by placing, you must be alert, since she's not just another, someone who agrees with all you say. She has the ability to confront you in a light-hearted manner and captivating for a lot of men. This is an incredible quality, But there's a limit because the majority of women are aware that crossing it. Teasing isn't intended to cause pain or embarrassment. It is intended to elicit a response from you and increase the dynamic nature of the connection if you react well by tormenting her with laughter. Returning or just savoring the moment, it strengthens the bond. Why does this work? Since it utilizes a universal people remember the truth about how you create them. Feel that a light-hearted, taunting remark can make an occasion that is both distinctive and she uses it as a means of leaving a lasting impression. Impression without being too blunt. This type of humor demonstrates that she's sufficiently at ease to joke around with. It's how she tests your abilities. To enjoy yourself, be self-assured, and manage a small, light-hearted task. If you've ever been the target of this type of, you probably remember it from the tease. And she's aiming for precisely that. When a woman teases you in a light-hearted manner, she's not merely kidding. She's creating a link, checking your response, and ensuring that you take note of her. It's subtle, astute, and unquestionably successful for. She looks for reasons to enter your personal space. Looks for reasons to invade your personal space. If a lady that is interested in you will frequently look for subtle methods to be close to you. Occasionally, more frequently than you think, whether they're seated beside you during group activities that happen to stumble into each other, into you, at the places where you typically hang out, or even striking up informal discussions at. These aren't random, they're just in time. She is putting herself in your personal space because she desires attention, but this is the unpleasant reality that most men overlook. These indications, they attribute it to either pure chance or, worse, just because she's a friendly man. Women don't go out of their way to wake up, to surround themselves with someone they don't find thought-provoking or worthwhile regarding it. Why would she bother? To always take a seat beside you or inquire about your thoughts when there are. Many people who are close to women are not mind readers, and they will not explain to you whether she's constantly placing herself inside. She's giving you the opportunity to reach out, to take note of her. If you're too blind to, someone else will notice it, won't they? About forcing her to pursue you incessantly. It's about seeing the possibilities. She's connecting with you by being in your space, attempting to ignite a natural spark, and effortless something that enables both. This is where the criticism comes from. Bond arrives too frequently. Too many men are either too passive or preoccupied to notice. They are addicted to their phones because of these cues, too self-centered or contemptuous of the indicators directly before them. This ignorance doesn't merely push. It demonstrates to her that you're not the kind of man that listens and lets his. Honestly, women appreciate men who are perceptive, a man who sees her around, recognizes her work, and interacts with. She is more inclined to invest in him as a man. Alternatively, if you're the man someone consistently passes up these opportunities, she'll go on. So let's start with some suggestions. Observing whether she's looking for. Don't ignore sharing your space. Off as a coincidence, consider why. She has decided to stand nearer to you. Why she is now curious about your interests or the reason she seems to. These aren't accidents, so be where you are. They are indicators. By being more visible, and know that you'll see more than just these chances, but also demonstrate to her that you're the type of man who cherishes relationships. Don't be unaware the next time she's in your area. Don't only observe. Act 5. She displays her weak side to you. She displays her frail side to you when a woman starts to show her vulnerability. It's one of the most obvious sides to you, indications that she wants your attention. Ultimately, vulnerability is not something that ladies don't talk about much. It's an intimate act that calls for bravery and faith, with an implicit expectation that you'll reply with compassion and encouragement. If she's revealing to you her ambitions and anxieties or fears, she's allowing you to enter a space that the majority of people don't welcome, to the place where a lot of men collapse. In summary, they mistakenly believe this to be only dialogue, or worse, they cut it off. Men listen intently out of discomfort. When a woman expresses her innermost feelings, it's not small conversation with you, it's a big deal. Indication that she respects your viewpoint and feels secure enough to down her defenses. Let's dissect it. She might discuss a difficult workday, share a personal story tale from her early years, or convey uncertainty regarding a significant aspect of her life. These aren't just arbitrary facts. They're her way of stating, "I trust you to see me as I truly am." Engaging with the surface is simple, amount of humor and teasing, but here's where brushing fosters genuine bonds. Putting her vulnerability aside, or failing to recognize that you're sending the message that you don't want to receive the more profound aspects of her identity, this is where a lot of males must wake up too frequently. They are preoccupied with appearances, her look, her humor, and her charm, unaware of her willingness to express her difficulties and anxieties is what genuinely distinguishes her as a lady who desires. Being noticed involves more than merely searching for. She's looking for someone to admire her, for a person who can relate to her psychologically, and let's not overlook vulnerability is reciprocal. If she displaying this aspect of herself to you, she's probably seeking a reciprocal relationship. You don't need to reveal your life narrative all at once, but being truthful and candid about your ideas and feelings, let her know that you're as invested in the relationship, since she is a man. Who understand and value this vulnerability are noticeable because they demonstrate their capacity for emotional depth. They listen and empathize without fear, and react in a manner that gives her the impression that, on the other hand, if you reject her emotions or refrain from reacting when she opens up, you're probably shoving her off. Thus, listen carefully. If she confides in you, give it your full attention. Recognize her emotions and let her to understand that her confidence isn't misplaced. When a woman displays her vulnerability, it's how she asks, "Do you see me for who?" If you say, "Yes, show, I truly am," her with your words and deeds. That's what separates being just from having a second boyfriend and being. She can't help but notice this person. In conclusion, the majority of males are unaware of. You consistently overlook these indicators. You're not simply disregarding her curiosity. You're implying that she is unimportant. And to be really honest, no lady will remain waiting for someone who gives her the impression that she is invisible. Will proceed to find a man who is attentive, who can read her nonverbal clues and who appreciates her effort. But the reality is, relationships are more than merely attraction, is about connection, consciousness and work. If you wish to, you must open your eyes to stand out. Take action and begin observing when a woman is now attempting to get your attention. I would like to know whether you have ever. Those times when you believe you may have overlooked the warning indications, or perhaps, though you were unaware of it, you've noticed them. How do you react? Tell your tale in the remarks. Who will I be reading them? Understands that I might even make an offer. Some guidance, as this is the most contentious reality of all, the distinction between being unforgettable and whether you're simply another man. When she's already trying, you don't notice. The decision to make herself visible is yours.